Welcome back to This Is the Police. We are on day 91. Thief crushes ancient statue at museum. Travel agent, the people of Freiburg are more likely to visit other countries. And Sing and Karen Sparkle arriving in Freiburg. Presumably we will see some calls about Karen Sparkle. Who is that a reference to? Everyone loves me, so we are good to go. Wonder who that's a reference to in terms of, famous people. I do not know, but we know that Birch didn't come into work today. Ho didn't come into work today, and Kurodo here didn't come into work today. Kochi, there was a fire, and your little daughter's... Oh dear, yeah, she burned a bit, did she? Yeah, you can go to your child that was on fire a bit, that's okay. Somebody did already use that explanation. We really need to work with a fire marshal in order to establish whether or not there's any serious code violations at the Freiburg schools. Oh, dear-be-dee-be-do. Okay, see here, automatic weapons. Got it. City Hall request. We earn more money. We can hire more cops. Who do we want to hire? Anyone out here with a proper name? Oh dear. No, she's good. Real police people, you know that a black woman is probably the one that you want to hire because that does a lot for your diversity. It's literally have a vagina and have a different coloured skin. You are way ahead of getting her in the police because it looks good. We can also hire another one on, so we can now go for one that we actually choose based on their skill, which obviously is Ricky Darius here. He'll go on B shift. We can also hire another detective, I think. Yeah, one more detective to hire. We can hire Richard Kasuma. Yeah, but you're not a woman, so you only fill one of the two boxes, but you are better than the other one, so I'll go for you. Over there we go. You look like somebody I already hired once. Let's see here, J-Dog was able to brilliantly pass all their exams, as was Leslie King, or Larry King, and the Vars flunked all their exams and brought dishonour to the badge. And Mr. Spanky also failed and brought dishonour. We now have vehicular accident, though, on Route 22. 22? No, it's probably Route 22, isn't it? An apparently intoxicated driver flew into the oncoming lane and crashed into a van, which then crashed into 5 other vehicles. The drivers of the vehicles escaped with their lives, but jumped out of their cars and began to argue. A conflict ensued, and the situation is about to get ugly. Yeah, we need a couple of coppers out there. We need Griffith, we need File, we need Stuart Little, Shanow, and we need the paddy wagon as well. We also have a suspicious individual called at an apartment house. An employee at the Interhouse hardware store said that a suspicious man named Otis Adams ordered a very strange combination of objects which could easily be used to make explosives. Adams, it's just misspelled, got it, has a pretty colourful police history police record, including a bomb threat. Yeah, we want to get 2 coppers down there and have a bit of a chat with him then. And we have a suspicious individual at the Freiburg Elementary School. A young teacher reported seeing the same suspicious white van parking near the school several days in a row. Whenever I walked towards it, the van drove away, I'm afraid, for students. So let's get Khan and McNamara down there and have a bit of a look at that. We've got Jane Austen here in backup in case we need it. But it doesn't sound like we do here at the vehicular accident. Offender caught, officers unharmed, civilians unharmed, and presumably everybody got loaded into the paddy wagon. Our officers arrived at the suspicious individual call, and the police approached the front door, or the suspect's front door, not just the front door, open up it to deliver from Interhouse, knock without saying anything, or open up it to the police. Yeah, just try and knock out here, we don't want to scare him. A man in a chemical protection suit, seeing the police, rushes to a bedside table and searches frantically for something. Search the room for clues, or point a gun at the man and order him not to move. Throw a suspect into the centre of the room and pin his arms. Yeah, we may want to go gun on this one, just because he's got a chemical suit on. That seems to be the safest choice, and it did work out indeed. We have 2 calls waiting here, but now we've got officers back we didn't before. The assault at the Liverpool mini market. 5 teenagers asked the man for cigarettes, but he said they were too young. The kids jumped him and knocked him to the ground and started knocking him with full force. Waitress Nicole Shelton saw what's going on and called the police. These guys are crazy, they'll kill him. So we'll send down 3 coppers out there and deal with the assault. Meanwhile, we have 2 officers available to go here to the attempted robbery at the Sugar Daddy Cafe. What a great name for a cafe. A thief attempted a little sleight of hand to release Sherry Miller of her diamond ring, but she immediately felt something was wrong and put the criminal in excruciating Japanese finger hold. The son of a bitch is unconscious. You can come and arrest him now. I like that woman. The suspicious individual call has been cleared. It was unfounded. The driver of the white van is a female courier who parks near the school during their lunch hour. I have a stressful job and a horrible boss, but when I watch the children laughing, it calms me down. It's kind of still a bit creepy, but apparently it's not something we can deal with. We now have an assault at the farm, however. We don't have anyone to do it, so we'll have to wait. And now we do, so let's have a look here. Some workers were squabbling during their lunch break, discussing yesterday's football game, when one of them became really irate and tried to drive over the others with a tractor. According to one eyewitness who had taken refuge inside the building, he's like a crazy man. We barely escaped, so let's send down a couple of coppers to have a bit of a chat about the bloke driving a tractor at people. And we also have a massive fight, but we also have an assault upgrade coming in here. The teens continue to beat the old man, ignoring the police car that just drove up. Grab the 2 most aggressive. Turn on the siren. Oh, we brought you the cigars. We'll turn on the siren, just make it go whoop whoop. Let's see here. When the teenage thugs see the police, they start running off in different directions, presumably when they heard us. Nobody moves. Nobody gets shot. Fire into the air and order them not to move. Chase the weakest one. And let's just try out here and just intimidate them. Yeah, that worked. You know, telling people we're going to shoot them, that works out well, as it turns out. Apparently he was unharmed, though, so all is well. What about the massive fight? Some big men wearing striped shirts walked around the fountain and started trying to drown each other. Come quick before they all kill each other. It doesn't sound right, does it? So let's send down all the coppers we have available. Apparently 2 officers are willing to go down there. That's odd. But at least they call the sleight of hand chap. We have 2 reports coming in. First of the assault at the farm. Everyone was unharmed and the offender was caught. And the massive fight called. The people in the fountain were just having fun. They're harmless Russian immigrants, though they once served as paratroopers. For them, bathing in a fountain is a traditional thing for airborne troops to do. I'm sure that's traditional for every airborne troop, usually when they've had alcohol, is my guess. Oh Christ, we've got a rape, and we have an unlawful assembly call. Let's go with the unlawful assembly call. Oh no, well, we need the paddy wagon for that one, so what about this over here? Michael May saw a young girl running naked and bloody, trying to climb over the fence of an expensive mansion. She screamed and called for help, but then a man came out of the house, grabbed her by the hair and dragged her inside. The neighbours were complaining just last week about all-night parties at the same mansion, which is owned by Saudi Prince Malik Kefaya. Yeah, alright, so we'll get Fal and Stuart Little on it. Come on, don't be pussies. Righto, we have here Last Picture Show Theatre. We now have a paddy wagon home, so we can send down those coppers there. And we'll get other officers back here in a moment. Yeah, we've got more officers back here. So we can assign Jane Austen and those 4 to the rape out of the mansion. Hopefully somebody will come back in time to deal with this bloody great bomb threat, because we can't just assign SWAT. A suspicious man sitting in the waiting room. He's twitching and looking sideways at everybody. I think he's a spy or terrorist. He's all skinny, but he's got a really fat belly. I think he's carrying a bomb. Maybe it's just Jeremy Clarkson, because he's got all his weight on his tummy, as we saw on the Grand Tour the other day. Christ. Yeah, that's a vision you don't want to have anymore. I'm terribly sorry for telling you about that. We got another call. We are getting swamped here. The unlawful assembly at the cinema is, let's see here, the protesting women are pointing at movie posters with busty heroines in sexy poses, shouting, "Sexism is a disease in our country." One of the women steps forward and throws a stone at the cinema director, who was trying to talk to the protesters. Tell the protesters to calm down. Who's got an extra ticket? Arrest the woman who threw the stone. Just try and calm them down. We're trying to diffuse the situation. We don't want to de-escalate, because that's a bullshit term, but we want to try and diffuse the situation, and we did successfully do that. Nicking her, while she did commit an offence, is only going to sort of enrage the crowd, so to say. It's going to escalate the situation, if we want to use populist speak. But what about here? We've got 8 seconds. I don't think anybody's going to come back. What about the rape call? Offender was called. Officers unharmed. Thankfully, civilians were harmed. I'm not saying thankfully, because it's a terrible thing. Armed robbery call that we can't take is 2 men in clown masks stormed into the auto show and demanded keys to the most expensive cars on display. When the manager hesitated, the robber shot him in the leg. One visitor at the event managed to break through a shop window and escape at least long enough to call the Popo. Yeah, nobody's available. Sorry about that. Don't be sorry. Did you die? Yeah, you did. Sorry. Just nothing I can do. Bomb threat call. The man was not carrying a bomb. I clicked that a bit quick. Nobody's available out here. Everybody's available now. We'll send down here. Multiple shots were reported coming from a nightclub. Oh dear. Yeah, that is quite serious, isn't it? We now have lots of updates coming in here. Detective Lockett has found nothing. Abduction call. Nothing found by the German fire engine. And the attempted carjacking did indeed yield to some new information. Do we have enough, though, to do, well, anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we don't. So I'm not even going to bother. We'll just wait for them to clear this little call here. And we'll probably call it a day after that. We have an update from the shooting call at the masquerade clubs. All the employees and visitors wear masks and costumes. People outside are dancing quietly, but there's a sound of claps coming from further inside. Sees the girl in the squirrel suit, go deeper into the hall or climb to the second floor to get a better view. Let's try and move further in. The music stops and a shot rings out. The dancers start to stampede. A guy in a hockey mask flashes a gun and pushes over the girl in the squirrel suit. Shoot the man, help the girl up and chase the guy in the hockey mask. Well, we need to give chase. The guy in the hockey mask runs out into the street, gets into his car and continues shooting at the police. Hide behind the door of the club or shoot at his tyre or open fire on him. We need to stop to shoot the threat here. We don't stop the threat by shooting at his tyres. And offender was caught, civilians were unharmed, and officers were unharmed. And given what we've seen, we probably want to ask a couple of people to stay in tomorrow. So let's get Griffith, Little, and that's about it, really. We'll let everyone, in terms of detectives, have a day off so they can all rest up. It does make sense, because I kind of got to do this in pairs, because they're all working on cases together. So I can't just ask one detective to stay in, I need to ask two. And I haven't really figured all that out yet. And everyone else otherwise is very tired. So we should all be good here. They'll get a day to rest up and be happy somehow. So day 92, ecologist, urban air pollution levels normal. Port commerce increased 60%. And Hell on Wheels dealership invites public to show your sports cars. Well, they just had an armed robbery down there. I don't think that's a good place to do it. Everyone still loves us, despite the fact that somebody died because we couldn't respond to the call. Apparently City Hall doesn't care about that, though. Just us. What about him? My dog died yesterday. I'm just terribly depressed. Can I go home? No, cunnilingers, you're not allowed to do that. We can assign a stripe here to anyone we feel deserves it. Oh, Christ, the British been working for us for ages, and he's done absolutely nothing for himself. That is a bit disappointing. No, I can't see anyone here. Maybe the Vase deserves it, so she gets a boost. And we'll go to the map here and see what we have. Anything available straight away. We've got Mafia Share out here. Yeah, thank you kindly. I need the money, and I need my sale of money. Yes, that's how it works. What about this mission from God? Mr. Boyd, I don't know if you come to Mass, but if you do, you may know that our most enlightened and progressive parishioners donate absurd sums of money to curry the favour of God's blessed power. Truly his powder is manna from the heavens, which clears the mind in preparation for the coming of the Antichrist. Unfortunately, some of our flock have been turned from the house of the Lord, for outside the enemies of Jesus call the seldom fake, satanic... Oh, yeah, it's going well, isn't it? Satanic powder, and they're undercutting our God-blessed prices. It will be a great thing if you were to get rid of them, as the Lord Jesus drove the merchants from the house of God. No, that's God. If God exists, God can fix that. Am I right, people? We now have a vehicular accident. I don't know, why did we have a, what was it called the other day? Was it... I don't remember, we had one yesterday that wasn't called vehicular accident, was it? Maybe it was, I don't know. A drunk driver drove his van into a bus stop, knocking over several people. The van stalled out, and now the unsteady driver is clumsily trying to escape. Let's get our newly promoted Vase, Jensen, and Cunnilingus down there. We have a theft from the suburbs, literally right where the church is. Retiree Frank Seta, or Seta, because it's not double T's, is it? Complains that someone has stolen his lawn. Hey? His lawn? I've read that right. It's a lawn. That's his grass bit of his garden, isn't it? Like clockwork, once a month somebody comes by to cut up my gorgeous lawn and cart it off. I've never managed to catch this enemy to fertile grass before. What? I've never managed to catch this enemy to... I've never catch this enemy to fertile grass. So it's an enemy to fertile grass. Somebody who dislikes fertile grass. I'd have shown him. I'm a veteran, I've put hundreds of our enemies in their graves. I just want some peace and quiet. Well, we can go down and look at a stolen lawn. Although, would they really grow back in a month? That seems a bit quick for grass to grow back. Doesn't it? Like, if you have to completely seed it again, that would probably take a bit longer than a month. Oh, we got a report coming in from the vehicular accident. Offender called, officers unharmed, civilians unharmed. Apart from the people in the bus shelter, obviously, who was killed to death. City Hall is requesting here. The Market District is seeing an increases in pickpockets, and the media is already up in arms about it. You also send 2 cops to the area to increase the perception of police protection. There are journalists scurrying about. So we'll get Larry King and Mr. Spanky down there. It's the best thing for them to do. They're a bit, crap. Theft report came in here. The lawn at the location is caught by a neighbourhood boy at the request of Mr. Seater. So there's nothing in it. So maybe they didn't cut it up completely, like with the ground and that. Oh dear, yeah, this is more important than talking about a lawn and how you steal it. A massive fight at the Everyday Mall. An employee of the shopping centre was dressed in a tomato costume to advertise a new tomato paste. He accidentally frightened professional boxer Joshua Drake, who shouted and jumped on him and started pummeling him with full force. Passers-by tried to separate them, but they also received the boxer's fury, and a massive fight broke out. So we'll get the Paddy Wagon, we'll get the Vars, we'll get Jensen, Dixon, Cunnilingus, and Stuart Little down there. We have another vehicular accident, this time in the ghetto. The driver of a luxurious white Cadillac ran over a black teenager and then attempted to flee the scene, but lost control and drove into a column. The angry residents in the area have come out on the street. It does sound like something we want to send down a fair few officers to. That is, a probable not violent, but volatile situation. So get those out there and have a bit of a look-see and see if there's any, massive fight going to erupt. But we got an update from the Everyday Mall. Massive fight. 2 coppers needed. 2 coppers they will get indeed. Well, this is just wonderful. We have 2 outstanding calls and nothing to do about it. We also have an update at the vehicular accident from the ghetto. 2 men are pulling a woman with a bloody head out of the Cadillac. The crowd isn't letting them get her to hospital, and some are yelling out the cops have failed. We'll deal this with the law of the streets. Take out a nightstick and get ready to strike. And the law of the streets, what is it like? Fine, just make it quick. Out here. And the law of the streets, what is it like? We don't need to engage out here. We just need to get her away. And we need to get whoever's the victim as well away out here. So let's get ready to just get hands on. They start to throw bottles and stones at the cop. Shout, everybody stop, fire guns out here and push the crowd back. Let's just try and shout at them here. Which worked. I mean, that's what you do in real life, isn't it? That if people are throwing rock at it, you just shout, stop it. Sometimes they listen. Because, they realise they're being a bit of a dumpty. Yeah, we can't deal with the terror threat. Let's see here. A postal employee opened a letter. What? A postal employee reported that a letter was discovered with some powder inside. An inscription on the envelope reads, burn in hell. The employee is afraid that the envelope contains a deadly disease. My God, we are all going to die. And today is my birthday. Well, will Cecil deal with this on his own? No, you won't. Well, that's disappointing. Well, I'm terribly sorry that it runs out there, and we can't respond to that in literally 2 seconds. Oh, well, we'll just have to wait here. Oh, Christ, look at all of this going on here. Terror threat report. There's nothing dangerous in the envelope. It was only a girl's friends playing a prank on her birthday. I'm pretty sure that's against the law. Just putting it out there. Massive fight report. Came in. Offender escaped. Officers unharmed. Civilians were unharmed. I don't know how that managed to happen given the fact that we got a lot of really good officers down there. But apparently it did. And down here we have nothing available for homicide at Eddie's Burgers. A man wearing a night costume and carrying a huge sword entered the cafe, placed an order and sat silently in the corner for a couple of hours. Everyone had stopped paying attention at this point, but then he stood up, took his sword and began swinging it around with all his strength. He's already inflicted several severe injuries on several patrons of this restaurant. Sorry, we don't have anyone available. We just have one officer, and he's not willing to go down there on his own because he's a pussy. Oh, and now we've got a disorderly at the Everyday Mall. There's a huge clown running around the mall. Tried to scare me to death, said unemployed John Hawkinsmith. I got a disease. I got a note from a doctor. That clown got no right to scare me. Well, I mean, it's just a clown, mate. I'm not going to bother with that. Bill Buckler, oh God, not Bill Buckler, said that neighbour Derek Ruers asked him to watch his farm while he went on vacation with his family. Meanwhile, some strange people went over there with a tractor trying to steal the harvest. There's about a dozen people and they're robbing my friend blind. Yeah, but you're gonna need like a combine harvester, aren't you? I mean, you could do the old-fashioned way with like your threshers and that, but that seems like a lot of work. And you'd be noticed as well. Homicide report. Yeah, somebody died, but you know, nobody was available, so what can I do? Call and complain to the city hall. Something. The disorderly conduct call at the Everyday Mall was indeed unfounded. The clown was hired to promote the children's amusement park and has every right to be in the mall, which is why we don't send any officers down there. And that's a rule that I'm going to have to implement now, is that we don't respond to any obvious bullshit like that. Because why would you waste police time on that? Anyway, the theft at the farm. Seeing the police, the suspects begin to argue and shout in an unknown language, and then the two women manage to escape and hide somewhere on the farm. Carefully search the whole area, hunker down and wait for the woman to show, interrogate the calves. Do you mean like baby cows? Maybe you do. Anyway, we'll just carefully search the whole area. Which did work. All were caught, officers were unharmed, so that was a good bust all in all. We now have an assault at Christopher G's Ice Arena. While the legendary singer Gennaro Crepso was giving a performance, someone threw a larger ear of corn at the musician and smashed his head. Is there ever anything called an ear of corn? I thought it was a cob of corn. Despite a bit of blood, Mr. Crepso showed no concern and just laughed it off and got ready to continue. Nevertheless, the concert organisers were furious and demanded that everyone turn in their cameras. We can't let the audience leave until the offender has been detained, shouted into a police line. We've got a large crowd here, so send everyone you have available so we can get this done. Oh, we just need to arrest one bloke, don't we? We can send down 3 coppers and they can have a bit of a chat with everyone and find out what happened. There's no need to make a big fuss about it, is there? We got reports coming in. Debrido, absolutely nothing. Abduction. One update here. A bloke sitting there, drinking. Theft call. We got 3 new frames. I don't know if we got enough to do anything here, though. Oh, let's see. We might actually. Let's have a look. See here what it says. George Sand is a lieutenant in the Sand Mafia. Not. Oh, God. I was about to say media family, but it does say Mafia family, doesn't it? He manages the flow of arms. I mean, how difficult is it? You've only got 2 of those. He buys the guns, sometimes steals them, and isn't above pocketing the boss's money. George Sand has a bad back, so he usually works with a strong-arm accomplice, which makes him even harder to take down. The warehouse isn't under guard. The door is closed with a padlock. Penetration. Yes. The padlock on the door was broken with a pry bar. Weapons. The rare rifle with bayonets, which hadn't even been used during World War II, were on the second floor of the warehouse. The rifles were packed in long green boxes. Now, I have a question. Why would you steal rifles that are so rare that they weren't even used in World War II? Not that it was a war where rare weapons were used, but surely it would be difficult to get ammunition for those rifles nowadays, because now it's all standardised with the different, bullet types and that, like 9mm, 5.56, what's the other one, 7.62 and all that. That's all standardised now. It wasn't back then. It was all over the shop. The boxes were transferred onto a truck with no plates, covered with the tarp, and moved out. The man behind the wheel was George Sand. So we know that it was pried open, and they take them out. The boxes were transferred. So does it say anything about what kind of the rare hasn't been used in long green boxes? So definitely this one. So would they then do what? They would then move out here. So he's got a bad back, so obviously it can't be him, and he's one-eyed, isn't he? Yeah, he is. So let's see here. Can we see maybe that or chinky? Oh, I'm good. We caught them all. George Sand, lieutenant in the Mafia Sand family. So they did very well there. We now had to go and arrest him. We can either go to the drugstore. George Sand ran out of painkillers for his back and went out to get some more. Or we can go at the Last Picture Show Theatre. George Sand has tickets to the premiere of the new Bloody Shirt thriller. I think there'll be fewer people at the pharmacy, so let's try and send them down there. Just as a way of being careful, we'll get Cecil and Darius the dog down there and have a bit of a look-see. Assault call came in here. Offender escaped. Officers were unharmed. It doesn't really matter though, does it? I mean, we weren't really going to detain them at all, were we? We're just 3 coppers. We caught George Sand, which is very good news indeed, which means that Mole is now at 1,000 on her investigative skills. We were able to arrest all the suspects, and we get to do this here. Yeah, we can now take down Martin Sand. We can't start that investigation right now. So do we need to... Oh, no, we can arrest him, but we don't want to technically do that. We want to carry on so we can get to Chris G. Sand, don't we? Let's end the day here.